Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Marcus Militia proudly brings to you its undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the fail. Cause it's your boy, Marcus Alford, aka Heel Marcus, aka Half Trash, Half Amazing, aka Mr. No 1v1, aka Body Make Butterson, aka worst streamer in the world. Back here again with another episode of the Marcus Alford stream. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you all are having a great day. Oh, so I'm not gonna lie to you. But Thursday, and you know sports talk is on deck. We got KyleLiterally coming through in a couple minutes. Yeah. Everybody, I hope everybody's having a great day. This has been a good time for us. We're really hanging out and enjoying this week. The Sixers are officially into the second round. The Mavs actually pulled out another victory on the road. So God only knows what's next. Okay. We're gonna talk all that sports stuff in a little bit with our guy KyleLiterally, who brings the expertise of sports with him, even though we have really no clue what we're talking about. But we at least try. Boy, as soon as he comes in, then we'll get our stuff situated. We got Fortnite tonight. Well, got Fortnite tonight. We got Dead by Daylight tomorrow. So hopefully you guys will hang out with that. You know how Fright Night goes. I'm hoping everybody's having a great day. So I definitely want to hear from you guys today. Oh, Lord. Oh, there we go. It's the worst feeling in the world is when you just like waking up from a nap and you knew it wasn't the nap you were trying to get, and all of a sudden it's like kind of tired. I'll never understand these TikTok dances. Ever. They make no sense to me. Yeah, we got Fortnite later on tonight. Squad fills, no microphone for that microphone just for y'all. We'll try to get some more dubs. Archer season 12 premieres on August 25th. Oh, there he is. Do do do. There's KyleLiterally. Giving us some audio. Can you hear me, sir? If you can hear me yet. Okay. I can't hear you. He's almost here. Now I hear you. Deserve. Just trying to make sure where I can get the. Okay. Let's switch over to interview. Let's see if it'll pick up then. Say something again? Huh. Alright, let's fix it. Oh, okay.
There we go.
There we go. Now we should be good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, KyleLiterally is in the building.
Glorious.
Hey!
Made it.
Thank you for the resub, sir. Appreciate it.
32 months. That's like that's a long time. It's 3
like a
years.
pregnancy.
It's a whole bunch of them.
A whole bunch of pregnancies.
Like just consistent all around. Non-stop marathons. You know what I mean?
Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for our classic sports chat that we do every once in a while, especially when the big hard topics coming up right now. And right now,
huge.
Of course, the playoffs. Let's start there. There's so much sports.
So much sports.
So, I know one thing for a fact that we have not discussed is the Sixers, because we never talk about the Sixers, and I feel like the Sixers never get a fair share from us.
That's because Ben Simmons doesn't have a shot yet. So, what's the point in talking about him in today's league?
I've never seen so many Sixers fans jump off a bandwagon like we weren't up 3-1. I was like, wait, where are you guys going? Is it up? It's a good run, guys. I'm like, wait, what?
I swear, I feel like I don't know that basketball fans today understand basketball.
No.
I think they think that they're watching tennis, where it's just one person and the other people are irrelevant. Like, there's no such thing as a team sport. It's like you got your big three or your big two, and then that's it. Nobody else matters. I feel like half the people who talk about stuff like that, who talk about sports like this, probably can't name more than one other person who's on like the Brooklyn Nets, right? They obsess over people like Harden and Durant and Irving, but like they can't tell who else is on that team besides what's his name? Like Blake Griffin. That's it. And they probably don't even know that until they watch a game.
Griffin's there? Yeah.
Exactly. Like they probably thought he's still with the Clippers, man. Like, come on, get out. I'm so done with fans. I don't watch sports for the fans. I don't care what they have to say.
Yeah.
75% of them don't know what they're talking about.
At this point, you cannot watch a game and then go check out fan reaction because it's terrible. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. But
because we're not gonna get into it, but yes.
Yeah, it's one of those things I've been just dreading talking to fans about anything because they just come in and they're just like, ugh. Like, yo, what happened to you? Like, but the Sixers finished their series with a gentleman sweep of the Washington Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get your thoughts on the team during at least Game 5. What were your thoughts? Or matter of fact, on the series overall, what were your thoughts on the team?
Man, this Sixers team is so interesting because it relates back to what we just kind of talked about too. Is that when you see a team like this, and you see like when you see Game 4, and you see Embiid go down, and the game kind of got out of hand. And I think that's just natural because you just have to adjust. But this team adjusted. I think if they came back and they lost that game at home and pushed it to 6 games, then I would be a little worried. I'd be a little concerned. I think they would have closed out in 6, and I understand. But I think what is this that performance yesterday was a testament to Doc Rivers and that coaching staff and getting that team ready. Thank you for playing Maxey, coach. I appreciate it. That kid is going to be a star in this league for sure. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and I'm like, the Nets have their big three and they're likely going to win the championship this year. But when I look at the Sixers, I look at so much potential, right? Like everybody else is like trying to think about what star they're going to get, right? And you got to imagine Damian Lillard is going to get traded at some point or something like that. We don't need someone like that to win a championship. This team is so. I think you're going to see a lot of teams like the Sixers in the future, in like 5-10 years from now, when they realize that like you can't have 3-4 superstars on your team, but you got to build from within. Yeah. Maybe the league will slow down in that way. And I don't think that's my hope. At least I don't really know that that's what's going to happen. But like this team is complete, man. Like when they're on, they're on. I think I would love to see some more consistency from Seth Curry, from Danny Green, but like, bro, this squad is great. I don't think they can win a championship without Embiid for sure. I don't think they're going to beat the Nets. I don't think they're going to beat. They might not even beat Atlanta without Embiid, but
I could see
push it to 7 games.
I could see them beating Atlanta in 6 games without Embiid.
Yeah,
because don't get me wrong, the Knicks were nice. They had a nice little playoff. They had a nice little season.
Mm-hmm. They did,
but they had no answer for Trae Young, and their offense completely fizzled out. And when you realize that Derrick Rose has to play 30 minutes a game at his age, and then you look over and realize, holy crap, is that Taj Gibson starting for them? I didn't even know Taj Gibson was in the league, and then I realized he's starting in New York. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
So once you get to those points, I was like, yeah, I don't see them. I didn't see it. Atlanta's way too young, and New York was old and inexperienced at the same time, which is kind of weird.
It is weird. It is weird.
I didn't have any much faith in them after Atlanta went in there and just said, I'm just going to take you home. And I was like, wow, all right. Now, I feel like the Sixers defense is way more shut down than the Knicks are. So if they're gonna go out there and if they say, you know what, Embiid take a couple of days off or whatever, I feel like they could handle that game and take care of Trae Young because you're gonna have guys like Ben out there. You're gonna have guys out there like what's his name? Oh my God, Thibault. You got Danny Green running around all day with him. Like there's gonna be a lot of hands in his face, and they're gonna make him work for those shots that he's gonna go for. Like he's not Steph Curry, so he's not gonna throw 50 on you with ease. But he'll try to work you down, and I feel like our team is still built better even without Embiid against Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So I'm not worried about them.
I don't think Atlanta would have the depth either.
Yeah.
They have Trae Young, and after that, who's going to score for them?
They got some other guys here and there, but it's nothing that I'm sitting there worried about. When the thing that about Game 5 for the Sixers that really threw me off, I was like, whoa, is that Seth Curry going off at 30? I was like, wait a minute, like, because everybody was like, oh, well, there's no Embiid, who's going to score for us? Ben got to put up 40, and I was like, if Ben puts up 40 tonight,
no, he doesn't.
If Ben puts up 40 tonight, I think everybody needs to just never talk about him again. But it was like you didn't have to. You still have Harris, and I feel like people are starting to disrespect Harris all over again.
Yep.
Like they did all season long. Like
It's so frustrating.
Right before
I
the
want him to win so
the
bad.
All-Star selections, they were like, "Yo, how come no one's talking about Tobias Harris?" Like, and then Tobias Harris got snubbed, and they were like, "Oh wow, he got snubbed." But they were like, "Yeah, he's okay." And then I was like, "All right." He go out there, he drops like 30 a night, like every back-to-back games. And they were like, "Well, maybe we should have disrespected him."
And see,
Like,
here's the thing. Like, I wonder what Tobias Harris's, you know, what his how he's viewed in the league, right? Like, what's sort of that for him? Because I feel like he's one of those guys in the league who everybody knows just like that's that dude.
yeah,
Like he may not be out here like
he's not
some
flashy
superstar
about
like
it.
LeBron James or whatever. Like he's
He's
not even
not a
Jimmy
flashy
Butler.
guy,
But
but
at the same
he'll get you a
time, like
solid 20 and
he's
10.
on that level. And
Yeah,
I think fans don't recognize that either. And again, that goes back to what we started off with. No one knows what they're talking about.
yeah,
So we just play the game and we shut up and we just watch it. you know, but yeah, Tobias Harris is going to carry that team. I feel like somebody in that Atlanta series is really going to step up and just be in a consistent way. We're not going to see those flashes like 30 from Seth Curry. I think we might start to see,
yeah,
15, 20 a night from him at some point because you have to, because you
yeah.
don't have Embiid. Um,
I think
but
Embiid's gonna play.
I think
He's
he
gonna be
is.
limited
I
though.
don't know, man. I don't know. I think the way that they kind of unveiled that injury in the news, it was just so suspicious and
So
like,
they already had him on the floor. He was on the floor in Game 5. He was working out before the game, so they're waiting for the swelling to
yeah.
go down. That's their big thing, is to try to figure out what the swelling is. Once it goes down, then they can actually double check and see
Mm-hmm.
how much rest he needs for it.
Right.
Because and if they do, they're gonna put him on a time just to like have him in there, just to put the presence, and then just be able to space that time out for him, and then let him play like critical minutes towards the end if necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think he'll be back, especially because they have like a little bit of time. I don't know when the season the leagues the next round starts. Do they wait
That's a good
until
question.
wait, everybody's done, right? Yeah, everybody's done for the
Yeah,
East.
because I mean, yeah,
They don't
because
wait for the West, right?
the Nets already beat the Celtics,
Yeah,
so the East is set
yeah.
basically.
Do they don't have to wait for the West or anything. They can just start whenever, or do they like
So
wait until everybody's
what
set?
would have happened if the Wizards beat the Sixers? How would that have worked?
The
Would
Wizards.
that mean that the Nets would have played the Wizards and then the Hawks would play the Hawk, or the Hawks would play the Bucks?
Yeah,
Because I think
they
everybody
would.
was talking as if like it was set in stone
Yeah,
that the Nets and like Sixers were going to make it through or whatever. But like, no, it
yeah.
wasn't.
That's pretty much how the
Not
seating
at
is
10
set.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. But no. It's crazy because like the second round's gonna be interesting too. Because I mean,
I
I don't
honestly feel
think
like
either of
people are
those series are gonna
disrespecting
be.
the Bucks.
What's up?
I honestly think people are disrespecting the Bucks, and I
Absolutely,
think the Bucks and the Nets are going to go to 7 games.
absolutely.
And I feel I want to believe this. I want to believe. I think the Bucks are going to knock the Nets out of the playoffs.
Wow.
I don't
Okay,
even like the
elaborate.
Bucks. I can't stand the Bucks.
I know you don't like
I
them,
am a
so this is
avid
really crazy
Buck
hearing it from
hater.
you.
I'm an avid Nets hater too. But I honestly believe the way that the Bucks are set up and the way that the Nets are set up, one's a consistent team overall, while the other one is a three-headed monster.
Right.
And I feel like the team is going to chop the legs out of that three-headed monster and expose them for the lack of depth that they have. Don't get me wrong, Joe Harris is there, but then all of a sudden you realize Jeff Green is there, and you're like, Jeff Green? Oh no.
Yeah.
And Giannis is a two-time MVP, and I feel like a lot of people, especially Nets fans and the Nets in general, keep kind of forgetting that he's a two-time MVP.
Right.
He's the reigning MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm like, where are we going? Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, they forget Drew Holiday just jumped over there, and they were a threat before that. Like, so to get a consistent point guard like Drew Holiday, who was a very good defender too, I don't see them. I don't see them falling like a lot of teams are already predicting them to be. It's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be like 5 or 6.
No,
It's
no
not
way.
gonna be close. Just because Brooklyn had such an impressive showing against a really decimated Boston team does not mean anything in the second round.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know.
Yes,
It's a weird prediction. I don't like the prediction, but in my gut, I'm feeling like Milwaukee is going to take this one
mm-hmm.
in 7 games. It's going to be grueling. It's going to
Yeah,
suck,
it's gonna suck. It's
but
gonna
it's
be an
going to
ugly
be good.
series. It's gonna be good.
So that's my weird prediction. I think the Sixers are going to win in 6, and I think Milwaukee and Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be the setup. That's where I don't want to start thinking about predictions there yet because I'm
Mm-mm.
really conflicted because it depends on Embiid's health at that point.
Yeah.
But
Because
that's my
I hope that they're careful that like he doesn't re-injure himself after
yeah
this, because this tends to happen with Embiid. You'll get hurt, it'll be a minor injury, then he'll
yeah,
come back and it'll be something
especially with
serious.
big
So,
guys and you're a center with a bad knee. You don't want to over push it. You don't want to do anything that'll mess it up.
and this is what baffles me every time I see Embiid on offense. I cringe because first of all, his footwork is unreal
Yeah,
for somebody his size,
yeah,
and I can't express so much how fascinated I am just watching him play.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people give him so much disdain and hate and all this stuff. And I get it. I think a lot of that has to do with just how much the media talks about the Sixers and stuff like that. I think the media is obsessed with the Sixers for some reason. But like Embiid, if you were on another team, right? Like I don't think people would love Embiid all around because
Oh, of
he's
course.
such a generational player. Like I don't know that he's like Iverson level, but boy, we've
Yeah,
never had a player like this before. And maybe Moses Malone, but like even that, it's just like not
yeah,
to that level. And man, Embiid is just like I want him to win a championship. I want the Sixers team to win a championship.
yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to do without him. And like every time he's on the court and just does like that Euro step, I'm just like his knees, no.
But
And it's just like,
and that's
or he'll post
that's
up on the perimeter and then
yeah.
like I just do something crazy. I'm just like, what?
But I mean
How are
that's
you
just
not injuring yourself every
that's
play?
going to be our fear with him every time. That's our
Every
fear with a lot
time.
of players now. After seeing like a lot of injuries pile up, you're like,
Yep.
ooh, no, no, no. And the fall that he had, it was just so random, and it was just that was it. And I was like, well, wait, what? And I thought it was his back. I'm like, oh, he made a hit. He fell on his tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the what was it the situation that Danny Green had last night where he fell backwards. I was like, oh my god, he might be done. Like
Yeah.
he bent back, his leg was underneath him. I'm like, this is either a torn ACL or a busted ankle. I don't know what it is.
That's just a broken body at
Yeah,
that
I'm like,
point.
oh god. And I thought Danny Green was done. He got up. He was like, I'm okay. Started playing again. I was like, oh, all right, all right. And that's
I
always
don't
the thing.
understand it.
It's a roll of the dice. You never know what's gonna happen. I
Yep.
woke up one day, had a bone bruise on my foot. I was done. I was like, how? And then all of a sudden, it's like, yo, you just never know when injuries are gonna happen. And I don't know. I feel like I'm not worried about Atlanta as much as I should be. Like I wasn't worried about Washington after Embiid was like, I'm out game 5. I was like, all right. We almost took game 4, so I was like, I'm not even worried. Like
Right.
I was like, oh, we're good.
We're
But
good.
then
We're good.
everybody was like, oh my god, it's panic, it's pandemonium. They were like, house is burning on fire. I'm like, come on, guys, relax. But
We've been here before in
yeah,
Philadelphia. This
I
is
don't like.
exactly
But
what
yeah,
happened
as
when
you
they went
said,
to the Super Bowl. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2004.
yep,
It like we when the Sixers went to the finals in 2001.
mm-hmm.
Like Theo Ratliff, our center, was out, and we had to trade for Mutombo. Like we wouldn't have had a center to go through that. People were freaking out then, but like it panned out just fine. We didn't win, obviously, in those cases, but at the same time, like it'll be fine, y'all. This is the point of having a team. But
But as you said, I don't feel confident without him to win it all. So he has to be there to win it all.
Yeah.
But I do want to say something. You were talking about generational talents and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel super bad for Russell Westbrook.
I do.
Because
I do too.
That man, one, does not get the respect he deserves.
No, he does not.
He'll never get the respect that he deserves.
Nope.
And when we get back here 20 years from now, he's going to have the same disrespect that Allen Iverson is currently getting by people that did not watch his game.
Who didn't watch the game, man? It's so wild.
That's what's going to suck, because there's going to be people and they're going to be talking about, man, Russ was just getting triple doubles, and that's pretty much they were just gibby and he was losing, so he was just kind of padding his stats or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, I've said that at times. He did check the stats to figure out what he needed. He did, but
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, but
you're not going to win a championship, so you might as well win some titles that way.
Exactly. He was still playing his heart out. He was still giving 1,000% every time he was on that floor.
Yep.
And people were literally just sitting there, and they don't understand how special that guy is, and they're never going to understand it. They're never going to realize it, and it's going to be super disrespectful. And I remember it just happened in the AI. And I remember it happening to any other guy because he didn't win a ring. And ring culture is super annoying. It's so embarrassing. Annoying. And it really doesn't it benefits nobody when it comes to your overall game. Because I remember how disrespectful people were about Charles Barkley. Like, people, if you didn't see Charles Barkley play and you only see him being an analyst or whatever, you're like, oh, man, he was fat. He didn't do much. You did not see Charles Barkley play ever then. Because Charles Barkley on that floor, if Jordan wasn't there, he was the best player on the floor.
He was, absolutely.
He was running around. He was getting the blocks. He was getting the scoring. He was getting the assists. He made rebounds. He did it all that he needed to do. Especially when he was in Philly. Especially when he was in Phoenix. Like, he made those moves. Well, in Houston, when he became a cash grab, that was just trash. But
yeah, and that's the other thing too with that, right? Is that I think this is why ring culture doesn't work anymore, is because so many things have to happen around just the player in order for a team to win a championship. That is a huge milestone to accomplish. There are so many things that are outside of Russell Westbrook's control that will, keep him from ever winning a championship. And like, it could be one of those things where, like, if certain balls had fallen differently when Oklahoma City went to the finals, like, he would have a ring, but then people would find excuses to discredit that as well, because we had Kevin Durant, we had James Harden, who wasn't the James Harden of today.
Not even close.
So it's like, this is why I don't mess with fans no more. Not that I ever really did in the first place, because it's just like, I know Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I know Allen Iverson is, and I respect both. It's not about who's better or worse. It's not about that. Watch the games. Just watch the game and be amazed at how these people are able to contort their bodies and do things that no one could ever do. I cannot express. I'm going to say this again. I love watching both the Blazers and the Nuggets play, because those teams they're just so much fun to watch. I have no stakes in either of those teams, but it doesn't matter. Why not watch Damian Lillard just pull up threes from the freaking logo? Why not?
Exactly.
How are you going to hate on that? Like, Damian Lillard will probably never win a championship. But are we going to say that he wasn't a good player because he didn't? No, come on, man.
And that's going to suck too. Like, because you got people like Westbrook and Lillard that are doing some really, really phenomenal work. Like, that you could not even think about the stuff that they do. You'll never understand how and where it came from, how they got it across, like how it happened. You just see, wow, I saw that. Damian Lillard dropped 54 for no reason. And you're like,
for no reason.
Oh, okay. Russell Westbrook has more triple doubles than anybody ever. You're like, okay. But they don't have any rings. And then everybody's gonna be like, well, were they that good for real? And I'm like, you're super disrespectful. And I feel like we've gotten to the point where, because here's the thing, if we're really going to talk about ring culture and everything, how much stock do you put in Kevin Durant's championship rings?
Exactly.
Because Kevin Durant has what, 2 rings with Golden State?
Mm-hmm.
He joined a 73-win team.
Right.
They weren't homeless. They weren't bums.
Right.
They weren't sitting there scratching and clawing like, please, her, right. Come join us. We're desolate. No, they weren't trash. He didn't join a trash team and then get better. He had joined an RE championship team.
He joined a dynasty.
Yeah. So how can we continue to give him his legacy and his flowers and all that crap while looking at Damian Lillard and Westbrook and just kind of like, because let's be real, Kyrie Irving ain't nobody either.
No, exactly.
He did nothing without LeBron.
Yep.
Like, James Harden got nothing, but they're gonna sit here and really try to tell everybody that they're the underdogs in this playoffs, which I think is the funniest thing in the world. They're like, everybody's rooting for us because they know we're the underdogs.
That's what we do, though.
They literally scored 100 points in like 3 straight games, but they're the underdogs.
Yep.
They're the scrappy team that's crashing and clawing to get to the top. Man, if y'all don't get out my face with this dumb buffoonery,
I'm so over it.
But we didn't even talk about the West. We gotta go to the West Coast real quick.
Yeah, we do.
We got two games right now that are currently 3-2. We've got Memphis out. Utah finished them up. And
wait, isn't everybody 3-2?
Huh?
I think everybody's 3-2.
Nah, Memphis lost last night. I think Utah closed that out.
So then you have Denver and the Trailblazers. They're 3-2.
Yeah, Denver's 3-2.
The Suns and Lakers are 3-2. And then the Clippers and Mavericks are 3-2.
Oh, they're 3-2. Right? Yeah, there's 3-3-2 teams.
Okay.
And then one team is already done. Utah's already advanced.
Yeah, they're done. Didn't Memphis take their first game?
Yeah, Memphis punched them in the face, and then Utah woke up and decided we're going to play all our players and not play around with this, and then won 4-3.
Yeah, because for a minute there, the 1 and 2 seeds were the 1, 2, and 3 seeds, right? Were 0-1 in the West.
Yep.
So that's fun.
Wait, Phoenix is the 3 seed, right?
I thought Phoenix was the 2 seed. Oh, wait, you're right. My bad. I'll take that back.
Well, wait, no. Phoenix
wait, so then that'll be right then.
Phoenix is the 2 seed. Utah's the 1 seed.
Nuggets are the 3 seed.
Nuggets are the 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1, 3, and 4. Because I think Clippers dropped down to 4 so they could play the Dallas. They dropped to play Dallas and ended up losing game 1. So.
Right.
Yeah. 3 out of the top 4 teams were 0-1 going into the start of the playoffs.
That's wild. That is wild.
We've got Denver and Portland playing tonight. Denver is up 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Lakers and the Suns tonight. The Suns are up 3-2. Which game do you want to start with first?
Let's talk Suns Lakers because I really don't have that much to say about that series right now.
Yeah. So
I think, or at least today, I think. Go ahead.
Before I get into the whole thing, because of course, fan opinion situation. LeBron James left game 4 early to go receive treatment.
Right.
It was a blowout win for the Phoenix Suns. They were up by like 30 with like 3 minutes left or 5 minutes left or whatever, and LeBron went to go work on early treatment. Big deal, little deal, nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Thank you.
Business as usual.
Thank you. Business as usual. Everybody's like, you quit on your team and all this stuff. And I'm like,
again, Marcus, stop listening to the fans. Stop listening.
Fans
just
starting the
free
narrative.
Yourself, man.
It's the funniest thing in the world. Fans starting the narrative that LeBron's a bad teammate is hilarious. But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. I talked to everybody else that I know, and they were like, nah, it's nothing. The man is 37 years old. Like,
He's 37. I thought he's
35, 37.
I thought he was 35.
He's 35. Man's 35. His body is like
double check.
37. There's cryogenics.
No, he's 37. Holy cow! When did that happen?
Wow, he is 37.
He's 37. He's gonna be 37 this year.
Okay.
But yeah, he's 36 now.
Yeah, but I'm like, he has to go through and does like the ice baths and all that stuff. Like, he has to go do maintenance every day. So I wasn't worried. But Chris Paul was hurt again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. A little tweak of the shoulder. His shoulder has been a problem pretty much the entire series.
Yeah.
Do you think Phoenix will be able to close it out tonight? No. AD is probably going to play.
No. It's 7 games.
7 games?
7 games. They're going to go back to Phoenix, and I think that 7th game is going to be super close.
Yeah.
I don't know who to call it, though, because it could go either way.
It could go either way.
It's a coin flip. It's hard to bet against LeBron, who has never been eliminated in the first round.
Yeah.
But he also has been in the league for like 35,000 years at this point. So there is a first time for everything. Yep. Right? And I think this would be the team that would fall in the first round. I think the Suns team is very good. I don't think they're going to be finals worthy. I think they're going to lose to either the Nuggets or the other team. Utah. in whatever round that they meet them in, if they were to advance. But like at the same time, if the Lakers win, they could very easily go to the finals because they have LeBron James.
Yep.
Like you can't bet against them. It's like very Tom hard. Brady, but I actually like him.
Yeah.
I like LeBron. He does good. So
hey, super hard to bet against him. I totally understand. I totally agree.
It's so hard.
So
who you got?
For this game, if AD is playing, yes. Matter of fact, even if AD wasn't playing, I don't feel like LeBron's gonna go out in 6. Not a chance.
No.
He would if AD doesn't even play, he's gonna put up 50, and he is going to sit there and say, "Get out my way! I'm guarding Devin Booker and anybody that got the ball. I am taking you down." Yep. You're going to go for a fight here. Chris, if you're in my way, I will take your shoulder out myself. I don't care that we're friends. It'll be like that scene in the Mighty Ducks where everybody knew that kid did not belong on the team, but he had to play with the Ducks anyway, and the Hawks still took him out for no apparent reason, even though they were all friends. He had no care, because you know why? They wanted to win, and that's exactly what LeBron's going to do. He will take out that cake eater, Chris Paul. I'm just kidding. But he'll take out Chris Paul if he has to, and he will do whatever he can to win to get to Game 7. But I think they will, and I honestly think they're going to take Game 7 as well. I think the Lakers will figure it out. AD will be healthy enough to play. It's a groin injury. You cannot predict a groin injury. Mm-hmm. Like one day you're going to feel great, the other day you're going to feel it, and you're going to feel like you can't move that well. It's going to suck. He said he was ready to play Game 5. And they sat him out just to give him extended rest. So I'm all for it. If that means he's fully healthy to play, they can ball out, they're gonna win that series if they're both healthy. Yep. What was the other? The other game is Denver and Portland. And to be honest with you, I think Portland's done.
I think they are too.
And I feel bad saying it. I don't like saying it. But Damian Lillard gave everything he could, sending that game to overtime, and he still lost.
That game was a classic. That performance from Lillard was
an
all-time great performance. And they still he's the only person who had more than 20 points.
Yeah.
Looking at the box score now, like over the course of 2 overtimes and 4 quarters, no one else on their team was able to score more than 19.
Then that's where it gets struck. That's where it gets hurtful. Because I mean, you expect CJ McCollum to do some things.
Yeah.
You got Carmelo Anthony that's supposed to give you some work from time to time as well. So you have all these options and all these extra stuff, but if it's not there, it's just not going to be there. Mm-mm. And it stings because you're rooting for this kid and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking at the post game interview, and they were like, "Damn, you did a great game. You had 54. How do you feel?" He said, "We lost." I was like, "Well, that's it." And then you see the defeated attitude in his face. He's done. I was like, he's tired. He's worn out. He's gonna play his all, but I feel like he's running on gas at this point. He's running on fumes.
Yeah.
And he's gonna try to go out there and put his heart out again. And I feel like
he'll still get 30 or 40.
Yeah, Denver is just going to be too much, too good.
Yeah.
Like Michael Porter Jr. is doing well. Joker, of course, is still an MVP finalist. Probably gonna get the MVP. I don't want to talk about that, but yeah, you can't. You just can't stop it.
I just and despite that, I can't help but marvel.
Yeah.
Like the more and more, like every time, because this happens every year, where we see just like that breakout performance by Damian Lillard in that first round of the playoffs. We see it every year.
Every year.
And then there's no more after that. Because even with like, I'm rooting. I want this team. I want Portland to just be good. Like I want to root for Covington. I want to root for Carmelo.
I forgot Covington was there.
Yeah, he's there too. And like, I love that squad.
Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Covington is there, and he's supposed to be just a 3-and-D guy." And I went, "That is the worst situation for Covington to ever be in, because if you remember Covington from Philadelphia, he was not just a 3-and-D guy. Like he did a lot, and I'm like, if you don't allow him to actually be a chance to be a factor, you just tell him to just stand there and wait for the ball, you're wasting his time."
Yep.
And I don't think he was never really injured for a long period of time, so he's not slower. So I'm like, I feel like y'all are just putting him in a position where he's not giving you his best work. Because I've seen that kid where he sat there and was like, "All right, I got the ball, we gonna ball out." Right. And granted, he's not the best player, but I feel like he's a good two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
For him to play defense and still be able to handle the ball if necessary, even to drive the lane.
Yep.
So I feel like if you're setting him up just to be a 3-and-D guy, you're putting him in a bad spot, just like how Kevin Love was in a bad spot over in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because he's more than that. He was working the boards and all that stuff, but now you're just having him prop up in one spot, and you're setting him up for failure, and you're setting your team up for failure if you're not going to let Rocco do his thing.
Yep. And I wonder, I'd have to really sit down and watch more Blazers games, but I feel like that looked a little evident in the game itself. It just looked like it was give Dame the ball and see what happens. Because everybody else just seemed out of sync, especially when, like, I know it's only one little thing, but when McCollum stepped out of bounds, I just feel like that's one of those game things that if you're in it, you don't make that mistake, especially in the end. You're hyper focused. I don't think Dame would have made that mistake. I don't think, anybody on the Nuggets would have made that mistake. But I think players on the Blazers, and I don't know. I don't want to blame the players. I don't know the coaching staff. I don't know any of those cats. But at the same time, like, that team is good, but they'll never be as good as they need to be to get to that second, third round. Yeah. And that sucks because
the one
the
thing
league needs to see more Dame.
Yeah, the one thing I'll praise about Washington, because we've been watching them this entire series, they passed the ball around a lot.
They did.
Like, a lot of people were scoring, and I went like, "Oh, why is this guy scoring? Who's this guy? Who's that guy?" And you're like, "Wait a minute." Teams need to get back into that fold of actually having everyone contribute throughout the game. You cannot have a focus on just one ball dominant player and everybody just stand there and watch and pray. Like, it's super frustrating for that play. It's super frustrating for that team, for the players, for the fans, because now the fans are like, "Yo, that guy's a bum. He doesn't do anything but just stand there and wait for the three." Like, if that was like, I've seen people say that about Danny Green, and I'm like, wait a minute, you obviously don't ever see what Danny Green does on the floor, not just with the ball, without the ball, defense, all that other stuff. If you're just sitting there and you're going, "Oh, we're just doing spot up threes," like, that's not it at all, and you're not watching these games.
No.
But it's like teams are actually built like that now, where it's like, "Yo, just spot up and wait for the three," and super boring, and it doesn't have a player in the game as much as they want to be, because now they're like, "Well, I'm never gonna get a chance to really dribble. I'm not getting a chance to drive. I'm not getting a chance to be me. like I've been doing before I got to this team. I just got to sit here and just be in place,
Yeah.
like, and that's gonna suck. And if your team's built like that, you're definitely not going to do well long term. And I wish that they were passing the ball a little bit more instead of doing a lot of isolation stuff. But I feel like that's what you do when you have a Melo and a Dame and sometimes CJ. You're not getting the flow of the team going.
Yeah.
And when
There's
a
too
team
much
like
isolation
Denver,
in the league
Denver
right
does
now.
that. Denver's passing the ball. Like Joker, the reason why Joker is an MVP candidate is not because he's just a great scorer. He's a good passer.
Yep.
He's spreading that ball around. He's making sure people are scoring. He's going to put you in a position to score. So if you're not going to do that, then I feel like Denver is going to just beat Portland tonight. And it's going to be it's going to be another disappointing season for Dame Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers because they could never get over that hump ever. Yep. And eventually they're going to be sitting here in all the trade talks to trade Dame, trade CJ. There's nothing else available out there. You have to start building a team. You have to get not household name players. You have to start picking up players that can actually fit your system and actually play ball.
Yeah.
Because was it Hachimura? I have never seen the name Hachimura ever come up until this series, and this man was dropping like 20 points. And I was
Hachimura's that point.
Where did this come from? Bertans, like a bunch of guys here and there, and I'm like, wow, they got 20 points. He got 20 points. What is this guy doing? Holy crap!
Yep.
It's called passing the ball. It's called teamwork.
That's a team. Listen, people need. If we're talking next season already, I really think people need to watch out for Washington because that team, they're going to be top 3, top 4 next year for sure because they finished 17-6 this season, and like they're set up. They're ready to do this, and
yeah.
I don't think this year was their year for sure, especially with just like all the COVID stuff. But if they get a full off season, they get a couple additions here and there. They keep developing all their young players. That team's going to be really good. I don't think they're going to win the East, but they can compete for it in the coming years for sure.
Agreed. So I don't know. I'm tired of looking at teams that are doing solo ball, and you get teams like Utah who aren't the flashy pick, but they're a team that actually sits there and passes the ball around. Like Gobert and them they barely average 20 points a game. Mitchell barely averages 20. He doesn't go over 30 like that. They spread the ball around. That's what teams do. And they have to continue to start doing that or they're going to fail. And you're going to see teams like that, Utah, the Bucks, Sixers, guys that are not completely ball dominated. They pass the ball and they spread it around. They're going to keep doing it and they're going to keep winning. And eventually these old relics of the ISO ball are going to fade out.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because I think ISO ball makes sense in the regular season. It does not make sense in the playoffs.
No.
Period.
Not even close.
You can't just shoot lights out. And that's why I don't think the Nets are a sure bet. I think they're better on defense than people give them credit for, but not good enough. And that's not a team. It's just 3 big superstars, one in their twilight, and then like a handful of other role players who you probably can't name off the top of your head at all. Because you know, like
they gutted a team for 3 superstars.
We've seen this before. This is what the Lakers team that had like Kerry Payton and Karl Malone and all of them on there. They didn't win, but that team was set to win. Everybody thought that they were going to be the ones. Like it was beginning of the season, it was a wrap, and they got to the finals and they got beat by Detroit that year, I think. So know your history, kids.
Yep. So we got one last Western Conference game. Dallas and the Clippers.
I'm so tired of the Clippers. I'm so tired of the Clippers.
Yeah.
Like they're just so boring. They look uninspired. They don't want to be there. I'm not here to dunk on people's personalities or anything like that because I don't know these players personally, but like Kawhi Leonard does not look motivated, which is interesting because this is where he wanted to be. Rajon Rondo is old.
Yep.
Like Paul George again is just like he was good like forever ago when he first got in the league, but I think there's so many players on that team that are just like, meh.
Yeah.
There's no fire when you watch that team play.
It's
And
a
that's
lot of
been
meh.
for not just season. It was last season too.
It's a team full of meh.
Yeah.
They're there. It happens.
Yeah.
To have Luka drop 42 on you with a sore neck, it just says enough about what's going on here. You have all these defensive guys that are supposed to play defense and be defensive stoppers, and Luka drops 42 by himself.
Yep.
And basically outscores Paul George and Kawhi at some points. Like, yeah. Then you have Kawhi, who is, I'm not gonna lie, Kawhi just there. Sometimes I feel like sometimes he's not mentally there. I feel like he's mentally checked out. I feel like he doesn't know exactly if he wants to stay there or not. And he's looking at this team and like, I don't know if this franchise can make a move and figure this out. And
he should stay in Toronto.
The funny part is, at one point, he could have been over in LA with the Lakers with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, that almost happened.
He picked Paul George. That tells me enough about his decision making right there.
I think a lot of that had probably to do with the fact that he didn't want to compete with LeBron James.
Yeah, I
think he wanted to separate himself, and then I think we see that yes, Kawhi Leonard is indeed separate from LeBron James.
The thing about it is, LeBron is 37.
37.
You don't need to compete with LeBron James at that point. You're coming to help win. Not even help win. He's gonna make you the focal point of the offense, and he's gonna say, "I'm gonna help you win. Like I'm gonna be the helper for you."
Mm-hmm.
That's when he looked at AD. He's like, "You're gonna be the team guy. I'm gonna help you win. I'm gonna be that piece. Like it's not about me. It's about you. You're gonna be the star. I'm gonna be the background dancer for this one." And he was like, you know what? I like this duo action over here with Paul George. And boy, was that a train wreck.
Sure was. So, I mean, yeah, I want to see more Luka in the playoffs. So I'm just going to play my bias here. I think they're going back home, right? They're playing at Dallas.
They're in Dallas.
They're up 3-2.
Dallas is up 3-2 at home.
They're done. The Clippers are done.
Well, the only thing that's stopping them is that no team has won at home yet.
Right.
So
yeah, I think this would have to be it though, and I think Dallas realizes that they gotta get a win at home, because if they don't,
like Luka said, I played poorly with 42 points. Imagine Luka feeling good and playing better. If he's gonna do that, he's probably gonna do it at home. They're probably gonna wrap them up in Game 6.
Right.
And
you can't win a series without winning at home. It's just
very true.
Impossible.
Well, not necessarily.
I mean, it's super hard.
He pretty much called the Clippers stadium home right now because he has been destroying them every night. So he could win it in LA in Game 7.
He could, but I don't think you want to go back to LA for
you don't want to
Clippers against Kawhi Leonard. We saw what happened with the Sixers.
Don't remind me. I saw him he tried to make a last-second shot last night, and my anxiety went through the roof. Because I just remember, I'm like, and he missed. He like airballed it too, and I was like, why now? Why now? But I was like, oh, okay, all right. But yeah, I honestly think that Dallas is gonna win it at home, and Luka's gonna really put on a performance at home.
For sure. Whew. Yeah. I mean, that leaves us with the Mavericks, most likely, the Nuggets, most likely, the Jazz are set. And then between the Suns and the Lakers, like, those are 5 teams I would love to watch every day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often in the playoffs.
These have been good matchups.
Yeah.
Like this was not a bad like run, and I'm actually happy that they did the whole a play-in tournament thing because it gave us an early indication that playoff basketball was here.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that. I'm excited for that. And now we'll probably have to regather after during the second round to get some second round chats in. We've been
Absolutely.
chatting about basketball for 45 minutes. But
Listen.
let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about some tennis.
Right.
The big topic right now is Naomi Osaka.
Mm-hmm.
I said that right. Yeah, I said it right.
That's
And
right.
her withdrawing from the what was it, the French Open?
French Open.
Yeah, due to not wanting to do any interviews after matches for mental health reasons, and they fined her what 15 grand,
Yep. 15 grand.
and she was like, "I'm willing to take the fines, whatever," and they kind of just pretty much said, "Yeah, it's not gonna work." So
Yeah.
kind of just dipped out. Let me get your thoughts on the situation.
You love to see it. I
Yep.
want more players to do this because we should not have athletes be obligated to speaking as a journalist, these invasive, you know, journalists or whomever they are who are just trying to, you know, pick at all this information, especially during a loss. We know Osaka is definitely, you know, she's clearly an introvert. So, you know, it's just like, I know that when I lose something competitively and I'm not playing on the French Open court, I'm just playing Smash Bros with my friends. I don't want to talk to the press about that. I want to just be by myself. I want to think about what I didn't do and what I did do right so I can come better the next time. That's it. I don't want to talk to some randos about stuff like that. Like, and I know like we gave crap with was it Kyrie Irving earlier in the year about that stuff like last month
Mm-hmm.
because he got fined for not wanting to talk to the media. I'm like, yo, I want this to be a movement, and this needs to go even past sports, yo. Like, if
Yep.
you don't feel like talking to people, I think people need to be more open about the fact that look, I just don't have it right now.
Yeah.
That needs to be a thing because like we have so much access to celebrities and athletes and all that other stuff, especially now, and it almost feels like we're entitled to that, and we're not. If Naomi Osaka, if Kyrie Irving, or any of these players don't want to talk about it, they don't have to talk about it. They don't owe us that. They're not
Nope.
doing it specifically for us. You know, they're doing it because it's what they love to do. They get paid for it. You can be a fan of it, but you do not. You don't have any agency here. So back off. Go her. Like that she's my favorite.
Yeah.
Damn it. Because this is why I really relate to her in so many ways. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad this happened. I'm glad people are talking about it too.
Yeah.
There's so many people on social media talking about just how good it was that she did this stuff and you know put in language to that and why that needs to be more of a standard. Like, why not? Let's do that and let's do that beyond sports.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think I'm glad they're finally having the conversation. And when she said from the start, I have issues with this all the time. I'm very anxious from the day one, and she let people know in advance. I'm going to like it triggered her one time after I think she beat Serena Williams
Mm-hmm.
because I needed a break. I gotta go cry. Like
Yeah.
you know these situations are happening all around, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, she's just faking it or whatever, whatever." And some people might use it over time. Some people might want to just get out of having the uncomfortable conversation. I know at one point Paul George used it
Yeah.
for his bad performance in the bubble, and it's one of those things where I think every professional organization, every team should have mental health as a focus in their organizations to have somebody there that can actually help with that as a professional. I know about 7 NFL teams now currently have a division of their medical staff just for mental health. I know
That's great.
Washington brought in a world renowned doctor for their staff just for mental health and everything. And I feel like every team should have that type of situation going down because not only are they putting their bodies on the line, they're putting their minds on the line. They're because they have to do so much other stuff, and some people get mentally exhausted from
Mm-hmm.
all of this stress and all of the work and all of the pressure. And there's no off switch for a lot of people. It's hard for
And
people to just go home and just say, "All right, turn it off," because
yeah,
now you're going to see it on social media. You're going to
it's
see it from
everywhere.
family, friends, and they're asking you about stuff, and you're like,
Can you
"Bruh,
imagine?
yeah."
Can you imagine?
I
I
get
get text
people,
messages
I get people
from
just texting me
people,
just off my
and I get
Facebook
overwhelmed.
statuses. Like, I get people texting me, "Hey man, what's up with your Facebook status?" I got to do a press conference now for my Facebook status.
Right?
Like,
Like, no,
then my mom's
no.
like, "Yo, so I was hearing about your folks." I'm like, "Oh, come on, here we go."
Yeah, it's so
So
weird.
it's very tiring. And I'm not even a celebrity or anything. Like, I'm just a world famous cult leader. And
And you're
you
the
got
best in the world.
yeah, you got these guys who are on TV and they have to be professional and they have to go out there and they have to win
The
and all
entire
this
world is
stuff
watching you.
every time. And then they have to go do press every time. Then they got to do press outside of press, which is social media, because now you have to watch what you write on social media, how you approach someone, how you approach a fan. Now
It's
you're
too
mentally
much.
just on the ball every day, unless you're in like a bubble. Like after you're done, you just go in like a little big bubble where like only you and the close friends or whatever you just hang out and just never touch your phone. That's torturous. That's prison
Couldn't
right
do
there.
it. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
And dude, first of all, what also gets me about these people who are upset about the fact that Naomi Osaka didn't speak to the press. When are those press conference interviews ever interesting? We get like a soundbite here and there, but it's
One or two
usually not with
words.
people who don't want to speak to the media. So
Yeah,
that needs to be an option for players, like hands down.
and it
And
needs
I
to get
think
to a point where we need to have everybody asking questions at one time just so we can get out the way. I don't need to go do this press for this company, then this company, then I gotta do this company, then this one, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go
it's
through the
too
line,
much.
asking the same, answering the same question over and over. Like, and then it's like,
Yeah,
yo, I don't need 20 minutes of a conversation right now.
right.
Y'all saw the game. I won. Nothing crazy
Right. There's
happened.
really nothing else to say after that.
Yeah,
What are you really going to say after? Okay, we won. All right, so just give me my trophy and I'm gonna bounce. Like that's what we're here for. I'm not here to talk to fans. I'm not
yeah,
here to talk to the press. I don't care about that stuff. Like, dude, you know it's wild. I've been thinking about this a lot too because I've been having my own thoughts about social media and stuff. Not that I'm like super popular or whatever, but like at the same time, I know that it's really hard for me when I'm on social media or anything, or just even thinking about it. You get so inundated with
yeah,
everything, and then you have to be careful with yourself. And everybody has access to you. Everybody has all that, and it makes you think about the fact that like we've had so many fans like do stuff on the court
yeah,
in basketball last week, and that's because everybody's like, oh, COVID's over, so yay, let's party, which isn't the case, and people are wild now because they've been
yeah,
inside for a year and a half, and their entitlement is showing. Like, oh, I have access to these players. I know these players personally. I can tell you why these players are doing this thing or that
yeah.
and all this stuff as if like that's your homie. And I'm like, first of all, you wouldn't storm the court on your homies like that. And secondly, like just because these players are making millions of dollars or whatever, it doesn't mean that you are entitled to them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
your dollars are going to them. Okay, that one time you bought a Sixers ticket 10 years ago is not you paying their salary. That comes from so many other things that you have no idea about.
Yeah.
So miss me with that. And just
Like,
because somebody makes a lot of money doesn't mean that like they owe you it. Well, we're not gonna get into that. But like, come on, man. These players are still human beings.
yeah.
Especially these players of color, man. Like, come on. Come on.
Like throwing popcorn, throwing water bottles, sitting there going after people's families in the crowd. Like,
It's wild. I don't think I could ever go to a game again.
like,
I could go to a WNBA game if Philly gets a team, but that's about it.
yeah, I'd be so pissed if I'm sitting there and I'm playing a game and now I have to think about my family who's in the crowd might be
Right.
in danger because some drunk fool is upset that my scoring is not doing him well for the team. Like,
who gets
what?
upset like that? Who has time for that?
Who attacks a person's mother or a person's dad or anybody's family member? You don't know them. He's not playing for you. He's playing for himself and the team. But I don't know. Yeah. I can't. But I'm actually happy that they are actually making mental health a conversation. I know it was a conversation in basketball previously with Kevin Love came out about it. Kyrie has been doing a little bit more talk about it, and I mean a lot of other players are doing very good talk about it, and I'm happy that players are actually going at it, and I'm glad it's now making its way over to tennis because every player, every athlete, every person that is sitting here that has to work on to perform on national TV and stuff like that needs that type of added bonus and mental health evaluation and stuff like that because it's challenging because the pressure on you is crazy and they need help.
Yeah,
they need someone to just be able to they can talk to and say, you know what, wasn't really a good time right now.
And think about how that would resonate with the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
Like here we would see on TV NBA players who were listed as DNP because they took a mental health day.
Yeah.
And now you're like, that is absurd. Why would anybody do that? These players make millions of dollars. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're making $7.50 per hour. Would you want to take a mental health day? Does it matter how much people are making? Yeah. Like your boss probably is making 6-7 figures, and you don't even know that, and they're just taking all the time off that they need to. So it's just like, let's start making that happen because, damn it, if we come out of this quarantine and we're working harder than what we were before,
yeah,
we failed. And I am so glad this is happening on a large scale platform like sports, like tennis, like basketball, international sports.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy. So I'm happy this conversation is happening more and more. And I'm hoping it continues to grow in all aspects of sports, like baseball. Baseball is a grueling sport as well.
Yeah.
With 62, 82 games.
Something like that.
In the middle of summer.
Yeah. No thanks. And that open, hot stadiums, all of them.
I go to one game in the summer and I need like 2 days off afterwards just so I can like readjust my whole life because that is a game. The game just sitting there watching the game is enough because the chair is uncomfortable, the heat is unbearable, the people are unbearable.
Yep.
And especially when you're in Philly, man, this place is a dump. Like there's some really trashy people here. And you have to be stuck sitting next to them for like 3 hours watching the longest sport of all time.
And they charge $10 for Old Bay fries from Chicken and Pizza. $5 for the cheese. What? No. And it's hot outside. That is criminal.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm hoping that all sports